Alright, let's get our hands dirty with some t-test. We are gonna actually fabricate some fake experiment data and run t-statistics and p-values on them and see how it works and how to compute it in Python. So let's start by fabricating some data here. Let's imagine that we are running an A/B test on a website and we have randomly assigned our test into two groups, group A and group B. And group A is going to be our test subject, our treatment group, and group B will be our control. Basically the way the website used to be, so in this example our treatment group is going to have a randomly distributed purchase behavior where they spent on average $25 per transaction with a standard deviation of 5 and 10,000 samples. Where is the way the website used to be had a mean of $26 per transaction with the same standard deviation and sample size. So we are basically looking at an experiment that had a negative result here, and all you have to do to figure out the t statistics and the p-value is used this handy way, states.t-test and method from SciPy. It's just that simple. So what you do is you pass it into your treatment group and your control group, and out comes your t statistic, which in this case is -13. The negative indicate that it is a negative change. This was a bad thing, and the p-value is very small, so that implies that there is an extremely low probability that this change is just a result of random chance. So remember, in order to declare significance we need a low p-value, and that's exactly what we are seeing here. We are seeing -13, which is very high absolute value of the t statistic, negative indicating that it's a bad thing, and an extremely low p-value telling us that there is virtually no chance that. So if you saw these results in the real world, you would pull the plug on this experiment as soon as you could. So just as a sanity check, let's go ahead and change things so that there is actually no real difference between these two groups. So I am gonna change group B, the control group in this case, to be the same as the treatment where the mean is $25 with a standard deviation that is unchanged and a sample size that is unchanged. So if we go ahead and run that, you are gonna see that our t-test ends up being below 1 now. So remember, this is in terms of standard deviations, so that implies, well, there is probably not a real change there. So you also have a much higher p-value as well, over 30%. Now these are still a relatively highest number, so you can see that random variation can be kind of an insidious thing. This is why you need to decide ahead of time what is an acceptable limit for p-value here. You could look at this after the fact, and 30% odds, that is not so bad, we can live with that. But no, I mean in reality, in practice, you wanna see p-values that are below 5%, ideally below 1%, and a value of 30% means it's actually not that strong of a result. So don't justify it after the fact. Go into your experiment knowing what your threshold is. Let's do some changes here, and again we are creating these sets under the same conditions. Let's see if we actually get a difference in behavior by increasing the sample size. So we are gonna go from 10,000 to 100,000 samples. You can see here that actually the p-value got a little bit lower and the t-test a little bit larger, but it's still not enough to declare a real difference. So you would expect that too. It's actually going in the direction. You would not expect kind of interesting, but they are still high values. Again, it is just the effect of random variance, and it can have more of effect, especially on website when you are talking about order amount. Well, now we are back under 1 for the t statistics and our values around 35%. So I mean, we are seeing this kind of like fluctuate a little bit in sample size, and we increase the sample size. This means that going from 10,000 samples to 100,000 to a million is not gonna change your result at the end of the day. And running experiments like this is a good way to get a good but feel as to how long you might need to run an experiment, how many samples does it actually take to get a significant result. And if you know something about this of your data ahead of time, you can actually run these sorts of models. Now this is a sanity check. If we were to actually compare the set to itself, this is called an A test, and we will talk about that more later. We should see a t statistics of 0 and a p-value of 1.0, because there is in fact no difference whatsoever between these sets. Now if we were to run that using real website data, where you were actually looking at the same exact value and you saw a different thing, that indicates there is a problem in the system itself that runs your testing, right? Alright, so at the end of the day, like I said, it's all a judgment call. So go ahead and play with this, see what the effect of different standard deviations have on the initial data sets or differences in means, and kind of a get a feel in different size. So I just want you to dive in, play around with these different things and actually run them and see what the effect is on the t statistic and the p-value, and hopefully that will give you a more gut feel of how to interpret these results. But again, the important thing to understand, you are looking for a large t statistics and a small p-value. P-value is probably gonna be what you wanna communicate to the business, and remember, lower is better for p-value. You wanna see that in the single digits, ideally below 1% before you declare victory. Okay, let's talk about A/B test some more in our next lecture. Thank you for watching.